How's it going? Welcome back to another episode of Mood for Feud. Thank you so much for listening and tuning in each week. If you are enjoying this podcast, make sure you give it a rating and a review, and also follow me on Instagram at Mood for Feud. I always post some clips and photos of the episodes that I talk about, but also feel free to flick me a message if you have any suggestions for future episodes or feedback, or you just want to kiki about pop culture. Make sure you slide on in. So in this week's episode, we're actually going to be following a slightly different format than we normally would. Normally we just deep dive, as you know, into one feud per episode, but this is actually going to be a bit of a compilation episode of celebrities who feuded with their fans. First of all, I want to give a really big shout out to my friend Michaela Telford for suggesting that I cover the Justin Bieber and Mariah Yeater scandal that happened in 2011. This was such a good suggestion. I had actually somewhat forgotten that all of this had gone down, or it seemed like a little bit of a fever dream if I thought back on it, but we will be getting all into that. And then I thought this would be a good chance to bulk the episode up with some other feuds that happened between celebrities and their fans. And so once we cover Justin Bieber and Mariah Yeater, we'll be moving into Ariana Grande and Paige Niemann, Jason Derulo and Josh 685, and then finishing with SZA and Mya Farley, aka Derulo, on TikTok. I hope you guys have fun listening as always. Make sure you let me know your thoughts, and yeah, I'm really interested what you think about this format and whether you would like me to do a couple more compilation episodes like sprinkled in throughout the deep dive episodes. Okay, starting off with Justin Bieber and Mariah Yeater. This feud begins in November 2011 when Star magazine reports that Mariah Yeater is claiming that Justin Bieber is the father of her child, and that she has tried to reach out to Justin and his team multiple times and that they have not responded to her, and so they are reporting that she is planning to file a lawsuit against Justin Bieber. Now, when this news drops, it makes a massive splash in the media. 2011, Justin Bieber really was the moment. I mean, Bieber fever was at an all-time high. I'd say he was easily the biggest male pop star at the time. He just had a crazy amount of fans, a crazy amount of attention on him. And so when this magazine reports that there's a woman claiming that Justin is the father of her baby, it's going to make a massive splash in the media. The story actually gets picked up by Good Morning America, The View, The Insider, a bunch of other news outlets. It even got picked up by New Zealand news outlets like the Herald and stuff. And so, yeah, it even made its way to our little corner of the world. So as all these articles are coming out about this potential baby that Justin Bieber fathered, he appears on the Today Show and he says that none of the allegations are true. He doesn't even know who Mariah Yeater is, and basically is saying that he can 100% confidently say that he is not the father of her child. We get to hear Mariah's whole story on an interview that she does on The Insider. And in this interview, she explains that she attended a Justin Bieber concert in 2010. Now, bear in mind, in 2010, Justin would have been 17. And she says that his bodyguard invited her and a couple of other women to meet Justin backstage. She says that when her and the other women were backstage, Justin immediately took a liking to her and that they had a connection and things got very flirty between them. And then he exclusively asked her if she wanted to go somewhere and be alone. And so the way that Mariah is telling the story is that he basically selected her or singled her out from this group of women who were asked to be backstage. Now, she says after she agrees to go with Justin to be somewhere alone, they end up in a bathroom, and this is where she says his whole demeanor changed and it kind of went from being like cute and gushy to very aggressive, and then they had sex in the bathroom. And it even just feels weird calling this sex when Justin is 17 at the time, and the age of consent in New Zealand is 16. Don't even get me started on that because that is way too young. But even then, I still feel like Justin being 17, he is, in my mind at least, a minor, and so it's like, it even just feels wrong saying that this happened, because Mariah Yeater at the time would have been 20 years old. The interviewer at Insider obviously has the same kind of train of thought as me, because he asks Mariah if she has concerns because there's rumors that the LAPD are going to launch an investigation because in California the age of consent is 18, and so if her story is true and that she had sex with Justin when he was 17, then obviously she could be charged for that. And then Mariah responds that yes, she is concerned about that and that it seems a really scary thought to go through, particularly because she claims that Justin is the one who came onto her, which is interesting. At this point in time, the interviewer asks her if she, has any evidence that she can present, because a lot of people just don't believe her story and think that she's lying. And she says that she does have evidence and that she's provided all of this evidence to her attorneys and that the truth will come out because she is planning to file a lawsuit and take Justin Bieber to court over this. And I think the court date had been set for December 15th that year. And then Insider explains that a security guard from Justin's team has come out and claimed that he was with Justin the whole time following the concert and denies ever seeing Mariah. And what does she have to say about that? And she just replies, no comment. And then they show Mariah the clip of Justin on the Today Show where he's like, I've never even met this woman, that baby's not mine, type of thing. And she's watching it and then she starts like breaking down. She's like, oh my god, and like starts crying and she's like, I'm so sorry, I just need a moment. And it's super dramatic, and I definitely will be posting this on my Instagram at Mood for Feud, because this sounds so mean, but I kind of find it funny. I think this is the moment in the interview where I am fully convinced that she is lying, because the reaction to that video was it was way too dramatic. In the Insider interview, we hear from Mariah's attorney, and he claims that he took the case on because he believes justice should not be a luxury that only the rich can afford. And then he also mentions that they are planning for Justin to take a paternity test and that they need to be really careful about how this all goes down, because he wants to make sure that there's perfect chain of custody from, the moment Justin takes the test all the way to his DNA going to the lab for testing, da-di-da-di-da. So like a true good lawyer, he is already sowing seeds of doubt that even if the paternity test comes back as negative, he's sowing the seeds that, but there's a potential that it could have been tampered with, or it might not have actually been Justin's DNA, or everything like that. I will say that there are a lot of questions in this interview that Mariah doesn't answer, especially some of the hard-hitting questions, like, for example, he asks Mariah if any of the other women who got invited backstage into the VIP room, if any of them could substantiate her story, and she kind of like shakes her head, starts crying, and is kind of like, I'm sorry, I need a minute. She's definitely always skirting around some of those harder to answer questions. And so definitely the vibe is sus, to say the least. Now, after this interview comes out, TMZ actually leaks some screenshots that they got a hold of, and in these screenshots, Mariah is sending text messages to her friend, implying that Robbie, her ex-boyfriend, is actually the father. In one of the messages that Mariah sends, it says, quote, "Would you please stress to Robbie how important it is for him to be in his son's life?" And so TMZ is kind of claiming like this is evidence that the whole thing is a rumor, or essentially a lie that's made up, because here we've got proof of Mariah behind the scenes, when the cameras aren't rolling, pointing to the fact that the real father of her baby is Robbie, her ex-boyfriend, which would make a hell of a lot more sense. Now, Mariah's boyfriend Robbie does release a statement as well, and he claims that Mariah is lying. He doesn't corroborate her story at all. He says she made the whole thing up for money, and that she essentially would have done it with any celebrity, but she picked Justin because of his popularity at the time. He says, quote, "She lied. We were both homeless and living in Oceanside, and Mariah was trying to make some quick money. She just picked him because she thought he was famous and all, and thought she could get a lot of money by telling the magazine Justin was the father. She just saw him as an opportunity to make a lot of money. She said she was doing it for us, for our family and son. She made it seem like it was all for us, but she's greedy. I don't know. I still love her though. All I want is to be with my son. That's all I care about. She can take all her money. I just want my son. And man, on the real, I feel sorry for Justin Bieber. He's just a little kid, man. He don't need to be going through all this drama. He got a career and shit to focus on. I feel sorry for the dude. And so all the kind of signs are pointing to the fact that Mariah is probably actually just making this up for a bit of attention, like Robbie claims, for a bit of money and, maybe 5 seconds of fame. Now, the court date was scheduled for December 15th, but on November 16th, Mariah Yeater actually drops the lawsuit, and so the court case is called off. Following this, Justin Bieber and Scooter Braun, who was obviously his manager at the time, do an interview, and Scooter is defending Justin, again saying he's never met this woman, he's not really taking too much notice of this whole drama going on because he knows he's got nothing to hide. And then they do say that Justin will be taking a paternity test to show that if people are going to make these false claims about them, he's going to clap back, he's going to take action, get ahead of things, do a paternity test, and there's going to be consequences to their actions. So even though the lawsuit is being dropped, Justin still wants to take a paternity test, basically just to show other people who might be thinking like, ooh, this is a good way to make a quick buck or get some attention, that they will be taking it seriously. And we never actually find out whether Justin takes this paternity test or not because, as I said, the court case, has been dropped. The dispute kind of seems to be settled. Mariah Yeater is never really heard from ever again, and there's nothing further. The news outlets move on to the next big thing that would have been happening at the time. And so, it kind of all just disappears. It's really strange because almost all the whole world was talking about for a solid 5 minutes, and then it all just goes away. Seemingly overnight. In April the following year, so 5 months after all of this went down, Justin Bieber does send out a tweet that says, "Dear Mariah Yeater, we have never met, so from the heart I just wanted to say," and then it links to a clip from Borat, and it's like, "You'll never get this," which Justin Bieber is such a fucking egg, I swear to God. Like, I don't know, I do kind of, obviously that's immature, right? Like, but it is also kind of funny. And then later in 2012, Justin also writes the song Maria, which, obviously a play on Mariah, and it's obviously about the whole situation that went down, and it is a fucking banger, I will say. We get the lyrics, "She said she met me on the tour, she keeps knocking on my door." I'm not going to sing the whole thing. It says, "She won't leave me alone. This girl, she wouldn't stop. Almost had to call the cops. She was scheming. Oh, she was wrong. 'Cause she wanted all my attention. She was dragging my name through the dirt. She was dying for my affection. She got mad 'cause I didn't give it to her." And then in the chorus, we get, "Maria, why you wanna do me like that? That ain't my baby. That ain't my girl." Should Justin have called Mariah for permission and asked whether he's allowed to write this song about her? No, I'm kidding. There's a little callback to last week's episode for you. Yeah, that's kind of the end of that feud. Where is Mariah now? Nobody really knows. I mean, I went on to some Reddit pages and someone found a Facebook account that might be her, but it seems like she's kind of just living the quiet life, I'm sure that appearing on these talk shows and having the whole world speculate on whether she was telling the truth or not would have probably been a pretty wild experience for her. I think personally I am on the side that thinks that she did make it up. I just think there's not enough evidence that came out, at least to the public, that would corroborate the story. There is a fun little Reddit theory that is on the side that Justin is actually the dad, and some of the evidence that they state for thinking that is that, like, number one, for example, we never actually find out the results of the paternity test or whether Justin actually took the test. They could have easily just paid Mariah off, which is why we've never heard from her again. We've never heard anything further, and why the whole scandal kind of went away overnight, seemingly. And then the screenshot from TMZ doesn't really prove anything because texts are so easy to forge. Like, how can you actually wholeheartedly say from a screenshot that, that it's legit? I mean, people can Photoshop stuff. You can change anyone's contact in your phone to Mariah and then pretend that you were getting messages from them type of vibe. So I do think that's a bit of a fun theory. Let me know what you think. Do you think that Justin is the father, or do you think that this was all made up? It's definitely, a lot of people at the time were comparing this moment to a modern day Billie Jean. Billie Jean is obviously that Michael Jackson song, which is about a very similar situation that Michael Jackson went through, where he was being accused of being the dad. And in that song we obviously get the lyrics, Billie Jean is not my lover, she's just some girl who says that I am the one, but the kid is not my son. So it is actually a modern day Billie Jean. Maybe that's even where she got the idea from. And I think it does attest to the kind of absolutely insane levels of fame that Justin had at the time. And I do feel bad for him because he was obviously so young, and fame really is a double-edged sword, and this is a great example of that. But it must be so frustrating when you're this teen pop sensation and everything you do gets picked apart and people make up lies for a buck. And yeah, I can just imagine it would have a huge effect on your mental health. And even while I was looking into this, I came across one of those BuzzFeed listicles that's like a timeline of Justin Bieber's most roast-worthy scandals. And yeah, some of the scandals that they listed were pretty bad. How he had that pet monkey and he kind of just gave it up. Why did he even own a monkey anyway? That's obviously not the best. Times where he assaulted paparazzi, or assaulted his bodyguards, or assaulted his tour manager. But then some of the stuff on this listicle, I'm just like, is it really that big a deal? There was one where it's 18-year-old Justin Bieber says that he's tried beer before. And obviously the age at which you can drink alcohol in the States is 21. I'm like, is that really roast worthy? I don't know. I just think he went through so much at such a young age, and I can't even imagine what that would do to a person. My other thought about this is, why did the news outlets even pick this story up? Obviously it was, it went super viral. It was good for clicks, good for driving viewers to their pages. But I just feel like if I posted on TikTok saying that I'm pregnant to Jacob Elordi, number one, no one would believe me, rightfully so. And then number two, I don't think I'd get invited to do a whole interview on The Insider, or have my story get picked up by a bunch of different outlets worldwide. I find it really bizarre that they would even run this story and give it its airtime. So yeah, that one was really interesting. What do you think? Do you think Justin is the dad, or no? Okay, next we're moving into Ariana Grande and Paige Niemann. Paige Niemann is a TikTok creator, and she kind of amassed quite a big following on TikTok because of her resemblance to Ariana Grande. Now, don't get me wrong, she definitely does lean into this resemblance on her account. She does the high ponytail, she pulls her jumper sleeves over her hands, and does the Cat Valentine voice, which Cat Valentine is a character that Ariana Grande played on the Nickelodeon show Victorious. And that character, Cat Valentine, does have a very distinct voice. It's kind of oh my god, I didn't know that. It's super high pitch, and it's very distinct. And so, yeah, she does obviously have a natural resemblance to Ariana Grande, but then coupled with the way that she does her makeup and the clothing that she wears and the voice that she does, she does, purposefully accentuate the features that look like Ariana Grande. And she's definitely not the only one to do this kind of thing on TikTok. Obviously, Taylor Swift has a super famous impersonator as well. I think her name's Ashley, that might be wrong, who, again, has a natural resemblance to Taylor, but then does play into it by getting the similar bangs, and then, wearing similar clothing and putting on red lipstick, and yeah, just things like that. Again, I don't think there's anything wrong with impersonating your favorite celebrity, or even just a celebrity that you kind of look like. Obviously, impersonating is fun. It's a form of dress up. It's a form of acting, I guess you can say, in a broad sense of the term. And so yeah, I don't think there's anything wrong. Like Dwight Schrute says on The Office, imitation is the highest form of flattery, or whatever he says. Yeah, it's just really a way to show appreciation that you have for someone. But I will say, impersonating on the internet does seem to be a bit of a win-lose situation. And I've watched people who impersonate celebrities go through this almost pre-mapped fate I guess you could call it, where in the first instance they get a lot of clout, they get a lot of attention and a lot of followers for being a lookalike. You know, people will be commenting like with Paige Niemann, for example, oh my god, you look just like Ariana. Oh, you should copy this outfit that she wears in this music video, and oh, can you lip sync along to this interview clip? And they almost get praise and encouragement to keep leaning into it and keep posting clips of them resembling this celebrity. And then they hit this point where they're too famous and have too many followers and too much internet attention, and then the internet audience like 180s on them and they get branded as being unoriginal or one-dimensional. Oh my god, this girl thinks she actually is Ariana, it's so embarrassing. Oh my god, she doesn't have her own personality, imagine only being able to be Ariana Grande. Yeah, I'm getting real fucking sick and tired of seeing this. Like, they get all of this kind of backlash. And then this is usually where impersonators then make the mistake of trying to claim that they're not even trying to look like anyone else. This is just what they're like. Paige Niemann did this. She was kind of saying like, this is just my normal voice. I'm not doing a quote Cat Valentine voice, this is just how I talk. And then this just like enrages the internet further, and then it's like this really toxic cycle where the thing that the internet praised them for and the thing that the internet drove them to keep doing more of is also the thing that the internet, that's also then their downfall. I don't know, there's something like Shakespearean about that. We love them for something and we encourage them to do more and more and more and more of it, and then we hit this point of excess and we're like, oh, if you do one more Ariana Grande video, I will fucking lose my shit. And like, you know, this is just gonna keep going. I'm actually watching this happening. I don't know, I hope it doesn't happen again, because it's unfair in my mind that the internet does this to people. But recently on my TikTok, I've been getting videos of a girl who looks just like Cassie from Euphoria. And it's weird because she doesn't really look like Sydney Sweeney necessarily, who is obviously the actress who plays Cassie, but she like specifically looks like Cassie. Let me know if you've also had these videos on your TikTok. And she's kind of like in stage 1, and I'm seeing people being like, oh my god, you look like Cassie. Oh my god, you know, post a clip to this soundbite from Euphoria, or oh, do this makeup that she does. And she's in that initial stage where people are encouraging her to lean into looking like Cassie. And a lot of her content is her, you know, wearing clothes that are in that pale blue color palette that Cassie's most notably known for. You know, having the 2 little mini braids on either side of her face like Cassie does. So she seems to be in that first stage. And yeah, I mean, like I said, I hope this doesn't happen, but I do wonder if as her content grows and as her engagement grows, the internet's going to eventually 180 on her and be like, why are you always trying to look like Cassie? This is all you do. You're so unoriginal. But hopefully she gets ahead of all that and starts branding into some other kind of content. That's the best thing to do. You need to hit the sweet spot of any wannabe impersonators. Like, get your little notebooks out, because I'm offering up some cheap advice here. You need to hit the sweet spot of leaning into it, going along with your impersonation to gain a following, and then just before you get too big, you need to like stop doing that kind of content and get people to fall in love with the content that you create outside of just being a celebrity lookalike. That's the ticket. That's the formula. So this is kind of the cycle that Paige Niemann has gone through, and then it's all a little bit exacerbated when Ariana posts on her Instagram implying that she doesn't like when people do the cat voice, wear winged eyeliner and a high ponytail and a sweatshirt, and then claim that they're doing a really good impression of her, because to her it feels degrading. Okay, let me just say, obviously there's more to Ariana Grande than a high ponytail and a sweatshirt and some winged eyeliner. We know that. But when you're impersonating someone, you're essentially doing a character of them. So of course you're just going to pick out 2 to 3 of their most distinguished features or their most notable iconography and then really ramp that up to make this recognizably be like Ariana Grande. I think that that's really normal. I don't think anyone's saying that that's all there is to her, you know? But if you're doing a video and you want it to be really obvious that you're impersonating Ariana Grande, then yeah, I think the first thing I'd do too is get some like knee-high boots, a really baggy sweatshirt, and then put my hair up into that high ponytail, because that's going to be the way that everyone recognizes what I'm doing. I think she was maybe like exaggerating with the whole thing about that being degrading or not a good impression, because that's just how impressions work. In my mind, at least, it's about doing a character of your favorite celebrity rather than being your favorite celebrity, you know? And then Ariana Grande posts the following tweet, which fans speculate is about Paige Niemann, and it says, quote, "I just wonder why the cat voice / dialogue. I am sure she is the sweetest sweetheart for real, but it's definitely bizarre seeing people blend the two worlds, LMAO." Again, yeah, I can see why she's thinking, like, why is doing the Cat Valentine voice a good impression of me? I don't even talk like that. But it's that same thing where it's like, but we associate that voice with you. So it's, if you're impersonating someone and you want a really quick way of them to know that you're doing an Ariana Grande impersonation, you're going to do the Cat Valentine voice because it's so distinct and it's so going to click in people's minds that it's about Ariana. And like I said earlier, I don't think it's that harmful to impersonate someone. And I'm sure as a celebrity, it would seem really weird to see people on the internet doing their best to look like you and act like you. And there's definitely really extreme versions of impersonation, people who get cosmetic surgery to look like their favorite celebrities. And I think Paige Niemann dressing up in a hoodie and doing some winged eyeliner is on the very like non-extreme end of this, you know? And I think part of being a celebrity with fans and people who look up to you and people who want to be you is just going to be the fact that naturally people want to copy you. And that works in your favor too, because hello, when you do brand deals or when you put out your own brand of makeup or perfume or hair products or whatever, because people want to look like you and want to be like you, they're going to buy those. So, you know, there is a way to capitalize off that. And so you can't really like pick and choose when you want people to want to be you and when you don't want people to want to be you. So, yeah. I just think there's nothing inherently harmful about impersonating a celebrity for fun. But I do think things get a little bit strange when Paige Niemann starts an OnlyFans account. Now, in case you don't know, OnlyFans is a content subscription service where people can subscribe to creators on OnlyFans and get access to exclusive content that they're putting out, you know, behind a paywall purely for their subscribers. And so because of the way that this subscription service is laid out, it becomes very popular with sex workers or people working in the sex industry or people wanting to break into the, you know, porn industry. Because of the way that you can put out explicit content, it's behind a paywall and, you know, people have to pay to access it. Now, I'm not a sex worker, so my opinion on this is probably not the most nuanced or the most valid. But from what I can see, and in my opinion, I feel like OnlyFans is such a positive move for sex workers in the sex industry, because for the first time, they are in control of the content that they are producing and that they are filming. And they are also getting a lot more money from the content that they make. Obviously, the site OnlyFans will take a cut, but it would be a way smaller cut compared to, for example, if you're a sex worker starring in a porn film and then, you know, all the money generated by that film is being split to you, but also to your co-stars and then also to the director and the filmers and the site that it's being hosted on. By the time all of that money gets divided up, you'd actually not be making as much of a cut, I imagine, as you would just directly posting videos to OnlyFans, paying, you know, the cut that goes to the site, but then the rest of it would go to you. And then the other great thing about it, it does put creators in control of what they want to do in their videos, who they want to have in their videos with them, if anyone, and just gives them more agency over the things that they put out compared to being in a film where someone else is directing you and telling you what to do, and, you know, you might be feeling pressured to go along with something that you don't want out there. And also, obviously, they can pull content from OnlyFans at any time, so if a year later you're looking back at a video thinking, actually, I regret putting that out there, you've got the control to take that video off, compared to on other porn sites where you don't own the footage that you're starring in, and so you don't have the right, which is so fucked up, but you don't have the right to say, actually, I don't want that out there anymore, like, please remove that. So yeah, I'm sure that there are some drawbacks to OnlyFans that I'm not aware of, but it does seem like a more positive alternative for sex workers compared to being in the porn industry, which is known for being problematic. So Paige Niemann starts an OnlyFans account, which, to be clear, obviously I have zero issue with her doing this. I actually think it's a very smart move, and it's a move that a lot of creators who blow up on TikTok or Instagram or other platforms will then pivot to OnlyFans because it is so much more lucrative. And we don't shame sex workers on Mood for Feud. And, I'm a Capricorn. I respect the hustle. I respect the bag. And so, yes, if she's comfortable to make an account like that, I don't know, go for it. Secure that check. But I will say the one thing is that the content she's making on her OnlyFans, it seems like she is still resembling Ariana Grande in the content that she's making for her OnlyFans. And that is where I start to kind of draw the line, because it just seems strange to me to imitate being a celebrity and then engage in sexual activity. That would make me uncomfortable as a celebrity. If people were dressing up as me, pretending to be me, and then, filming sexual activity for money. I don't know. That's where I draw the line. But anyway, that's just me. Let me know if you think that if that's okay or not. Ariana Grande's fans were outraged by this. A lot of them were claiming that it is a form of non-consensual porn because Ariana Grande doesn't consent to having, someone in her likeness creating this kind of content. And it's, she's obviously doing it for views, and probably the outrage is just gaining her account more traction. But yeah, I don't know. I do find it a little bit unethical. It obviously doesn't break any kinds of laws or anything, so it's not illegal. But yeah, I just think that's a little bit strange. So, impersonating Ariana Grande on TikTok, I think that's fun. I think that's cool. But maybe don't then go and make porn like that. I don't know. What do you think? Let me know. As always, I'm more interested in your thoughts than my own, but it does spark some pretty interesting questions. Okay, moving on to Jason Derulo and Josh 685. Now, Josh 685 is a New Zealand music producer. He grew up in South Auckland, and he is particularly known for making beats. He is Samoan and Cook Islander, and the 685 in his stage name refers to the calling code for Samoa. And in 2019, he released a beat on YouTube called Laxed Siren Beat, which he made after school one day. When he was looking back on this moment, he recalled, quote, "I was feeling relaxed, so it made sense to call it Laxed." Honestly, I love that. It's so simple, but so true. He also recalls that it actually only took him 4 hours to make this beat, and that it is a tribute to his Samoan and Cook Island heritage, and it's a siren jam, which is made to be played through siren speakers that are often attached to cars and bikes and things like that. And it is a pretty catchy beat for sure. I'm sure you have all heard it. It's the one that's like do 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 boom boom boom. I'm not doing a good job of that, but hopefully you know what I mean. And the beat went super viral on TikTok in 2020, particularly, I think initially amongst New Zealanders and the Pacifica communities, but it blew up beyond that as well and was used by the likes of Addison Rae and Jessica Alba before it was officially released in April 2020. The following month, Josh 685 was signed with Columbia Records. It's a pretty funny story. At the time, obviously, Josh 685 is a high schooler living in South Auckland, right? And Columbia Records, I think, allegedly had to contact him via his mum's Facebook to get in touch with Josh 685 so that they could sign him. Also in May 2020, Jason Derulo teases his new single Savage Love, which samples the Laxed Siren beat. Again, super popular song. I'm sure that you know exactly what I'm talking about. And Jason Derulo at the time has 20 million plus followers on TikTok, and he doesn't credit Josh 685 at all. And actually at the time of releasing this teaser for Savage Love, he also hasn't obtained clearance to use the sample. At the time, Josh 685, like I said, he was signed with Columbia Records, and he was meeting with several artists, one of them being Jason Derulo, but also other artists who were potentially interested in remixing the beat. However, before him and Jason Derulo had actually come to an agreement that, he could sample the song for Savage Love, Derulo basically went rogue and then teased the song on his TikTok using Josh 685's beat. A source claimed that the reason Jason Derulo hadn't had clearance to use the sample yet is because him and Josh 685 hadn't agreed on the terms under which the beat was going to be used. So a source claimed that Derulo wanted Josh 685 to basically only have producer credits, but to not co-own any part of the song. And obviously, rightfully so, Josh 685 wasn't happy with that because, you know, being a producer on a track isn't going to give you as much, like, you're not going to be as well known being a producer on a song than you would be being credited as the artist behind it. Do you know what I mean? And so, according to that source, Josh 685 wanted more control over the work and didn't want to be bullied by a larger artist into just taking a producer credit for it. And they hadn't ironed out all those details yet when Derulo first posted Savage Love on TikTok, and that's basically where this whole thing went south. Jason Derulo, after posting this, received a ton of backlash from Josh 685 fans who obviously recognized the beat and knew that Josh 685 had come up with it a year prior. Jason Derulo obviously gets cold feet seeing all of these hate comments in his comment section, and so he does, edit the caption to his TikTok and captions it, quote, "Had fun remixing at Josh 685 siren beat." But it is still frustrating because on the actual TikTok sound that people then use themselves and make other videos with, it just said Savage Love Jason Derulo. There's no mention of Josh 685 on the actual sound that he uploaded. And so people were understandably really pissed about this. A lot of tweets started flooding in from Josh 685 fans. One of them, for example, said, "Give credit to the New Zealand producer that made the original beat." And then there was another one that I found quite funny. It said, "You not slick, Jason Dorito. We seen you delete it the first time because it was getting flooded with hate. Make sure you give love," in brackets $signs, "to Josh 685 for the beat that you ripped." And then following this controversy with people kind of demanding that Josh 685 gets the credit he deserves for Jason Derulo's song Savage Love, when it gets eventually officially released, it is called Jason Derulo and Josh 685 Savage Love in brackets laxed siren beat. So in the end, Jason Derulo does make it really clear that it's not just his song and that Josh 685 is the other artist on it, and that laxed siren beat is the beat that's being sampled in this. So that's really good. I am interested to know though, especially if you're not from New Zealand, because I feel like here in New Zealand this blew up quite a bit because obviously Josh 685 is from New Zealand. But I do want to know from, listeners maybe from outside of New Zealand, were you aware of the whole Josh 685 contribution on Savage Love? Is that something that was talked about overseas as well? Or did you not know that Savage Love remixed a beat by another artist? Yeah, I'd love if you can get in touch with me and let me know. So following this incident, Josh 685 did say that him and Jason Derulo had put the conflict behind them, and he was really excited to keep producing and had other names that he wanted to work with in the music industry. And honestly, I hope that man is getting his bag. I hope that the money is flowing in, because it is annoying when bigger artists rip off people who are still trying to break through into the industry and use their talent and use their music to further propel their own careers. Something about that leaves a bad taste in my mouth, I guess you could say. And I will kind of explain, especially for people who don't live in New Zealand. South Auckland, which is the district of Auckland that Josh 685 is from, is a district that has a really high population of Pacifica communities, Māori communities, and other generally marginalized ethnic groups here in New Zealand, and so unfortunately it is a lower socioeconomic district. And people from outside of New Zealand are always shocked to hear this, but there is still to this day a lot of racism in New Zealand, which is why districts that tend to have more marginalized communities also tend to be of lower socioeconomic status, which is really frustrating. And so even within New Zealand we see artists and creators and, well, unfortunately anyone anyone in all industries, we see people who come from South Auckland be discriminated, but also have their work not valued as highly just because of all of those stereotypes and biases that people have towards the communities that live there. And so it's so disappointing that, of course it's disappointing if this had happened to anyone, but the fact that Josh 685 comes from South Auckland, in my mind, almost makes this whole thing 10 times worse. And then it's also really frustrating because it's like Jason Derulo is a millionaire pop star, but he is also from a marginalized community himself. And so it's like, it's always doubly disappointing when the call comes from inside the house. And it's like, obviously, like I said, it would be disappointing for this to happen to anyone and by anyone. I just get this feeling where it's like, you specifically should know better. Like, to rip off a upcoming small young artist from a small country, from an underappreciated region in this country, you should fucking know better than to rip someone like that off. So yeah, like I said, I hope Josh 685 is cashing that check, man. And then the last feud that we're covering is SZA and Mya Farley. Before we get into this one, I will just explain a bit of backstory about the SZA whack Twitter meme, which if you haven't seen it, basically there is a Snapchat and it has a caption, LMAO, she droolin', and it's videoing a SZA concert goer who is uploading a story to their Instagram. The story just reads, SZA whack. And this does blow up on Twitter, and I guess it's because it is kind of funny to think that this concert goer couldn't even wait till the concert finished and to go home before she, literally in the middle of the concert, she's uploading a post saying SZA whack. And, you know, whack meaning like not good, cringy. So that internet meme kind of circulated a couple years ago, but this feud kind of started when Mya Farley, who's also known as @VaderLaw on TikTok, she is an 18-year-old fan who attends a SZA concert in 2023, and while she's at the concert, she decides to recreate the SZA whack Twitter meme, kind of as a joke. You know, it's kind of like one of those things where if you'd seen the original meme, you'd probably find that funny. When she posts her like Instagram carousel of her at the concert, on the last slide is, you know, it's her phone and it just says SZA whack, like the Twitter meme. Now, SZA comments on this post, which first of all, I will say, SZA is tagged in this post, but it's still pretty crazy that she actually saw this, because I think Mya Farley at the time says that she had like 250 followers on Instagram. How many times have you tagged a celebrity in something and like, of course, they're not going to see it? But SZA does comment on her post, quote, I don't think you realized how fucked up that actually is and how hurtful it was back then and how it ruined my confidence and desire to perform live. Y'all not human and it's sad, really. Wish you the best, love. I don't think when Maya uploaded that her intention was for SZA to get hurt by this. I don't even think anyone really knew that the original Twitter meme had that big of an impact on SZA. Now, this is where Maya is a little bit shady though, because she deletes SZA's comment off her post but keeps the original post up. And then we start a message war in the Instagram DMs between SZA and Maya, because SZA kind of sends the post to Maya and says, not okay. And then Maya responds, sorry, it was just a joke. And then SZA says, okay, this is going to be there's a lot of messages. I'm not sure if I'm going to read all of these out, but you can very easily find them on the internet, but I might just pick and choose a couple to read out. So initially SZA responds, LMAO, and you kept it up after I told you how that made me feel as a human being. For laughs, take care, love. Thank you for coming. And you deleted my comment? Wow, lol. Before I block you, I just want to remind you I'm a person. Like, I have feelings and a life and anxiety like anyone else. It's really hard to have courage to get up on stage and even want to do my job. My feelings matter. I don't bother anyone, and being the butt of a joke just because you're popular doesn't make it better, okay? Peace. Maya responds to this, and I guess like instead of just apologizing and saying sorry, I will take it down, I didn't think, my intention wasn't to hurt you, I didn't know that the original Twitter meme impacted you this much. She kind of almost doubles down on the fact that she posted it, and she says, girl, please, I'm literally just an 18-year-old girl recreating a meme that was posted like 3 years ago. Why are you coming after me so hard and sicking your friends on me? You're 15 years older than me, and it's a recurring meme in the fan base. and no one genuinely means it. You're a multiple-time Grammy nominee and you've so many awards, like obviously you aren't whack. It's situational irony. I thought it was funny to recreate that on the floor of your sold-out tour. Like, I spent $350 on those tickets. Obviously I don't think you're whack. I clearly enjoyed your concert, so I don't know why you're coming after me as if you don't have 15 million followers on Insta and the top album of the century. Please just focus on yourself and improving better relationships with your fans and going after your real haters who genuinely don't support you, because that's not me or my intentions. And then a blue heart. It's this really weird thing where she almost thinks she has the right to keep it up because it's just a joke. And SZA comes back on her. There's a lot of messages, like I said. I'm just going to give you the TLDR. But she basically just says she is a person with feelings, and why did you delete my comment after I told you how you hurt my feelings? And, you know, she says that she has an amazing relationship with her fans and that she's so grateful for them. But she thinks that Mya is lacking humanity and she doesn't need the criticism, and she was just letting her know that her feelings were hurt. So yeah, that's kind of the brunt of the messages. And, you know, SZA kind of lays into her for not taking the post down but just deleting her comment, and then Mya responds, I never cursed or called you names either. You said I wasn't human and I took that as an insult. I didn't know the intention of that comment was to take down the post. Wishing you the best. Which, girl, come on. Like, if SZA's leaving a comment on your post saying, hey, this really hurts me and I don't think it's okay, obviously that's a call for you to delete the post. Like, I think most people would delete the post. But anyway, they kind of go back and forth. I think SZA's biggest argument is the fact that she's frustrated Mya doesn't understand how much the SZA whack meme actually hurt the singer initially, and now, you know, bringing it up again, like, it's not a funny joke for her. And then Mya is kind of like, why does SZA fucking care what I post on my Instagram to my tiny little followers? Why is she laying into me this hard? And I will say, SZA is sending a lot of messages to Mya, and honestly, my only guess is that I feel like SZA was having a bad day, which is fine, you're allowed to have those, and then she comes across this SZA whack recreation. And do I think that all the messages she's sending Mya justify the post that Mya made? No. But I feel like she's almost just using, like, this is like the straw that broke the camel's back almost. I feel like there's a lot of things that, you know, she's gone through as an artist, obviously, as someone famous, as a celebrity. But this post is the thing where she's like, I've had enough. People don't have empathy. No one thinks about me as an actual person. Everyone's so comfortable just like posting shit online, and no one takes me seriously when I then express to them that I'm not okay with it and that hurt my feelings. And I will say, the reason that we even know about this whole private Instagram conversation between Mya and SZA is because Mya eventually does recount the whole story on her TikTok and shares all these screenshots of their messages. And it's really interesting because in the TikTok where she's telling the story, she talks about the power imbalance between her and SZA and how she is just 18 and it made her feel uncomfortable when SZA started coming after her like that because of this power imbalance, and because she also ended up receiving a lot of hate from SZA's fans. But it's like, girl, the reason that SZA's fans even know about this whole conversation is because you posted it on your TikTok. Like, SZA kept it fairly private. She left one comment on your Instagram account and then she messaged you privately. I just feel like that is the correct response there. It would be different if SZA posted Mya's post to her Instagram and was like, I hate when people recreate this meme, and then basically sent all her fans and followers to bully Mya. That'd be different. But she tried to keep it fairly private. You know, she was messaging Mya directly on Instagram, and it was Mya that then shared it with the rest of the world. Otherwise, we wouldn't even know that this whole thing went down. So a lot of people accused Mya of clout chasing by uploading this. A lot of people thought that Mya was being really insensitive to not remove the post after SZA expressed that it upset her. And then some people did think that SZA was overreacting and shouldn't get this upset over somebody's Instagram post or even over a little Twitter meme. And I think that this is an example that really draws attention to the way that celebrities are dehumanized. We almost don't recognize them as being, like SZA says, human beings with real feelings and real emotions. And we kind of forget, I guess, that they do see the stuff that we post online and that it does have an impact on them and their mental health. And obviously that is the life that you choose when you decide to be famous, and there's a lot of perks to being famous, like I mentioned, but then there's also a lot of drawbacks. So my question to you is, poking fun at celebrities online okay? Because that's just part of the parcel that you sign up for when you decide to be famous. Let me know what you think. In my opinion, the original post that Mya put up, just recreating that Twitter meme, was fairly harmless. Like I mentioned, I don't think Mya at the time knew that the original Twitter post had really upset SZA and really put her off performing on stage. And obviously, I've never performed in front of hundreds and thousands of people, but I can imagine it is a terrifying experience. And so seeing someone say that you're whack whilst they're literally at your concert obviously would have an impact on you and would make you feel less confident or less eager to go out and perform again the next day. And it is probably like that thing where you can see hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of positive comments of people saying how much they love you and how much they appreciate your music and your performing, but it just takes that one negative comment for you to like zone in on it and extrapolate it and convince yourself that this is how everybody feels, right? But again, I don't think Mya's intentions were ill. Like she says, she's a SZA fan. She paid a lot of money to go be at that concert. And so when she posted her recreating the tweet, like, I just don't think it was that bad. That being said, SZA very directly expressed to her that she didn't find that funny and that she didn't appreciate her sharing that post. And so why would you not just take it down? And then I do feel bad for SZA because you can just tell from the messages. I'll post a couple of screenshots of it on Instagram. You can just tell she's frustrated and it's really giving straw that broke the camel's back. And it would be really frustrating when people don't understand how much their actions and words impact you and how people just expect celebrities to not care or to not react. I can see both sides here, but I do think that Mya unfairly escalated the situation and then took advantage of the fact that SZA was like confiding in her how much this upset her by posting all of these private messages on her TikTok for clout. And that's all we have for this episode. Did you enjoy the compilation style? Let me know if you did, because I might sprinkle a few in here and there in between the deep dive episodes. And yeah, let me know which of these fan feuds were your favorite. Had you heard about all of these or not? Any other thoughts you have, make sure you reach out to me on Instagram at moodforfeud. Leave me a rating and review if you enjoyed the podcast. I hope you all have a gorgeous, gorgeous week. And I hope you don't end up in any feuds with your favorite celebrities. I will say, if I got into a feud with Lana Del Rey, who is my favorite celebrity, I would cry so hard. I feel like she could be so cutthroat if she wanted to be, and I feel like I would not handle. But anyway, who do you want to get into a celebrity feud with if you had to? Interested to know. All right, hope you guys have a great week ahead, and I'll chat to you guys next week. Bye.